In this session, we are going to look at how it is so natural to arrive at second law of motion. The second law of motion, which is also called Newton's second law of motion. See, so far we have been discussing one thing. I'll just recap that again. An object has got two mechanical states, state of rest and state of uniform motion in a straight line. We call constant velocity. State of rest is also called static equilibrium. State of uniform motion is also called kinetic or dynamic equilibrium. And to change that state, you require an external unbalanced force. Suppose that F is the external unbalanced force. F meaning external unbalanced force F. So external unbalanced force F. Suppose you want to change the velocity of the object. If you want to change the velocity of the object, if V is the velocity and V is the velocity and the velocity changes from, we usually had two notations for velocity, right? U for initial velocity and V for final velocity. The change in velocity means the difference between the final velocity and the initial velocity. So delta stands for change and velocity. The change in velocity means final velocity minus initial velocity. Suppose you want to change the velocity to a greater extent, then you need lots of force. You need enormous amount of force. And you want to change the velocity by a small amount, you need less force. So this is directly proportional. Force required is directly proportional to the change in or the amount of velocity change that you need or that you need to bring about. So the less is the force, the less will be the change in velocity. The more is the force, the more will be the change in velocity. So we can write this as force is directly proportional to change in velocity. So if you want more change in velocity, you need more force. That's it. And if you want to quickly change the velocity, if you want to quickly change time interval, now you are in time t1 and within time t2, that means the time interval delta t is equal to t2 minus t1. So within delta t time, within a small time interval, you need large change in velocity, then you need large force or enormous amount of force. You want to quickly change the velocity, you need greater force. So you have lots of time. Let the velocity slowly change, then you need less force. The force will slowly change the velocity to a greater amount. So if you want to take place this change in velocity in shorter time, you need more force. In longer time, you need less force. So force is inversely proportional to the time interval within which you want to bring about the change in velocity. And the most thing, you want a particular change in velocity on 10 kilogram mass. Suppose some force is required. You want the same change in velocity in 100 kilogram mass, then you need to put in lots of force. So the greater the mass, the greater is the force required. And the lesser the mass, and the lesser is the force required. So then in that case, force required is directly proportional to mass. So when you write these three equations in one, then you will be writing force is directly proportional to mass into change in velocity by time taken. Mass into change in velocity by time taken. Here in SI system, if you remove this proportionality constant, you add constant k. Usually when there is a proportionality, when you remove the proportionality, you have to put a constant in this case. Here in this case, the constant value in SI system, the system which right now we are using, is 1. Then what we are getting is force is equal to, or let's keep it that way, force is proportional to m into delta v by delta t. What is delta v? Change in velocity. Change in velocity means what? V minus u. Then the next step could be F is proportional to m into V minus u by delta t. Then when you multiply inside, m into V and m into u. So this m into v and m into u, because we are multiplying mass and velocity, mass into final velocity, mass into initial velocity, that mass into velocity is what you call momentum. The greater the product of mass and velocity, the greater will be the ability to impact. This one, momentum, which we call the product of mass and velocity, Newton called it quantity of motion. I'll just rub this off. So I'll just rub this off. I'll just tell you this thing. So P, the momentum, is a product of mass and velocity, which Newton called quantity of motion, which actually means momentum means the impact factor or the measure of impact. Measure of impact. The greater the momentum, greater is the impact. The lesser the momentum, lesser is the impact. If mass is more, let's say if a train is moving even with 1 meter per second velocity, if the mass is more, it can produce lot of damage. In the same way, even if it is a small bullet, if its mass may be lesser, because of high velocity, it can produce greater damage. So momentum is a product of mass and velocity, and it is a measure of impact. Suppose if an object is having large momentum, then it can produce enormous damage. If the object has less momentum, then it cannot produce that much damage. So momentum is a quantity which is the product of mass and velocity. And now you see m into v, because v is final velocity, m into v is final momentum, m into u is initial momentum, because mass into velocity is momentum, mass into final velocity is final momentum, mass into initial velocity is initial momentum. So I will write this equation as like f is proportional to, from this side, final momentum minus initial momentum by time taken or time interval. See, final velocity minus initial velocity is change in velocity. Final momentum minus initial momentum is change in momentum. So f is proportional to change in momentum by time taken. So because momentum is a product of mass and velocity, velocity is a vector, momentum is also a vector. Momentum is also a vector. Because momentum is a vector, force is proportional to that momentum, force is also a vector. So force is proportional to change in momentum by time taken. You remember we called acceleration as change in velocity by time. So we called rate of, if in the denominator time comes, it is called a rate of. Rate of means for 1 second. Rate of change in velocity is acceleration. Here rate of change in momentum is proportional to force. So this is actually what the second law of motion. What is the second law of motion? The second law of motion is that force is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum of the object. So naturally we have come up to the second law of motion through the definition given by the first law. See, what is that? Force is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum. Force is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum. Rate of change means for every 1 second, what is the change in momentum? That is called force. In our SI system, this proportionality constant K, suppose if you remove proportionality and put K over here, that K in our SI system is 1, then force becomes what? Change in momentum by time taken. So according to the general definition of second law of motion, force is directly proportional to change in rate of change of momentum. In SI system, force is equal to change in momentum by time taken.